we had no idea it was coming either. And that's actually how it operates for us a lot of the time. We have it's like a curveball.
Mm-hmm. I was sitting at home and they called me on the phone and told me what happened. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
It was just, you got to watch it to believe it. That's the whole point.
What's up, everyone? Tanya here with PopCulture.com, and I'm so excited to welcome paranormal investigators Adam Berry and Amy Bruni with psychic medium Chip Coffey of Travel Channel's Kindred Spirits. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for having us. Nice to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you again, too. And so I'm so excited about Kindred Spirits Season 6. It is back December 18th on Travel Channel and streaming on Discovery Plus. What can you tease in terms of investigations this year? Amy, let's start with you.
Well, I can say that in the first episode, we may or may not have found some human remains in a basement, which is a big tease. I would say that's definitely not ever happened in the history of our show, but also we do a lot of really outside the box type experiments this season. And I think people are going to be really impressed with what we find.
And do you guys head into investigations with specific questions in mind? I know there's so many different locations you guys are going to be visiting this year. Adam, if you may, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we know slightly what we're getting into because obviously we're called there for a reason. We know the activity that they're experiencing, why we are basically their last resort to figure out what's going on. But with our show and with our cases that we do, we honestly have zero clue what we're getting ourselves into half the time. And we're shocked by just the evidence and the experiences that we have. And that is this. I mean, season 6 is honestly, I think the craziest one, the craziest season we've ever had.
Yeah. And Chip, the thing is that this season we're seeing you doing readings remotely. And so for those that don't really understand, and some of those who are skeptics, and now the show's on Discovery, so we're getting a lot more new viewers. I'm wondering, does the how does that work for you reading remotely? Like what are you sensing when you see that footage that Adam and Amy are sharing? How does that work?
Usually they take me on a walkthrough. That's the general way that it works. And I pick up things just like I do when I'm there in person. Mm-hmm. And it is more challenging, no doubt, but those guys are so good and we know each other so well that I connect into their energy and it's almost like I'm there in person. And, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell this or not. You guys, my fearless leaders can tell me this. I'm going to be in person on one of the investigations this time. Amy and Adam said, we really, really want you there. And I said, okay, I'm on a plane. And it was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Okay. Yeah, super excited for that. So Amy and Adam, well, does it spook you when Chip nails the information that you haven't really shared with him? Because I know that we're seeing your reactions firsthand, like when, he's talking through the phone and he's letting you know what he's sensing. I mean, are you really that spooked? Like, are you getting creeped out by it?
I would not say creeped out because we're pretty accustomed to Chip at this point because he literally will just like randomly weigh in on our personal lives sometimes as well. And so we're used to him saying things that are completely bonkers, but there is that it's just like when we get really cool evidence, we're really excited and we're surprised. And, sometimes like we always say there's this trifecta where if we have evidence, research, and a Chip Coffey hit, then we know we're going in the right direction. And so sometimes what he says solidifies it for us. So yeah, that's what it's usually surprise. We're impressed.
And they always call me, sorry, Adam, they always call me one of their favorite tools in their toolbox. And it's one of the few times that I'm honored to be called a tool.
You call him our tool a lot. Yeah.
I mean, well, the thing is, because Chip is remote, I mean, that's what he does all the time. I mean, he does at-home readings all the time. It's his specialty. So we are shocked by some of the things that he says. However, it's given us an opportunity to expand our experiments with Chip, like remote experiments, remote viewing. I think even in one episode, we used virtual reality where I was Chip on a stick with a camera and like he had it on his eyes and he was like, looking like, oh my God. you know, looking around.
It was
But, like,
crazy.
and I was his head, but the things that he was able to connect with being immersed in that space, it was almost as if he was sitting right next to us at that theater.
And you know, one of the things that I loved seeing in this episode too, and we've seen them in so many episodes, and now that it's on Discovery Plus, we can watch them all the time. What I love is the spirit box. I feel like it is such a fascinating tool, and it's so like interesting to use. Like, I feel like you get so much out of it. So for those that don't know the function and purpose, I know a lot of people are going to be fascinated when they start watching the show. Can you explain exactly what it is?
Yeah, so the spirit box, the idea behind it is that it creates white noise by sweeping through radio frequencies. And we were using that on its own for a really long time, where we would just pull this thing out and let it kind of run, and it would make this white noise and words would come out. But there was this confirmation bias that could happen very easily with it. We would think it was saying someone's name, or it was saying yes or no. And then some friends of ours, Connor Randall and Carl Pfeiffer at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, they started using it differently, where they would put on a blindfold and noise canceling headphones. And then the other person would start asking questions, and the person listening would just say whatever they hear. So they have no idea what the questions are. And so it really eliminates, it's a really good control to put in place. And with it, we've been having like full conversations with who we believe could be spirits or ghosts. And I don't know how it works. We do go kind of, we did do something this season where Adam and I both did this at the same time, because we speculated we were in a house where these two spirits were coexisting, but did not know the other was there. Oh. And so they had like what we think was the first conversation they had in probably 100 years. It was a mother and daughter. It is the weirdest thing. Every time I rewatch the cut, I get full body chills, because our whole crew was like, what is happening? When we took the blindfold off, they looked at us like, what did you guys just do? So wait for that episode too.
It is totally one of my favorite things to do, using equipment, the whole ghost box thing. I have seen things happen just with Amy and Adam. And in the times that I've been lucky enough to be there, it just is astounding. Even for those of us who are the OG of the paranormal arena, some of the things that we've gotten on Kindred Spirits will blow us away. And it has to have that same impact on our audience. It just has to.
I mean, even now, like, even when I was watching the episode myself, like, I was getting goosebumps, like, especially the way, Amy, like, you were just kind of reading through all those things that were happening. And Adam, I'm wondering, does that ever scare you? Because like, I feel like the way it was trying, like one of the spirits she was communicating with, he was touching Amy. So does that like kind of get you a little nervous, like for her, because she has no idea, her senses are not really out there. It's just her hearing.
Yeah, well, I think yes. And I think it works both ways. I mean, when we're listening to the spirit box and blindfolded, we are at our most vulnerable. And that's the point. I mean, especially if you're dealing with something that's a bit aggressive, or something that is terrorizing a family, like we're sort of putting ourselves in that vulnerable position. So if anything is, attacking one of us, we're not going to like sit there and be like, cool, go ahead, keep doing that. That's fun. We have to set boundaries, because obviously, that lets us in a little bit more about who we're talking to. It's like, okay, yeah, they are aggressive. But now we have to push that aside and find out why.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, are we going to see any more new equipment this season? Anything that's going to elevate? Yes. So can you tease us with what we're going to probably see?
There's a really great, there's a really great piece of equipment that we're using now. It's like an EMF, a tripwire.
It's called a paranormal tripwire.
Yeah. And each little light on it is its own EMF detector, and it changes color based on how close someone gets to it. We use that a lot. And
there's also lamps using that same technology. So like, it's not so like, so we like to use REM pods, but they can be very obnoxious and loud. These they kind of like light up, and, lights are very easy for Adam and me to understand. And so we, we go with that. But basically it changes color to let us know how intense the EMF field is. But it's nice with this tripwire. You can like put it over doorways. You can put it around objects. You can put it around us. And it shows you exactly where there are fluctuations in the EMF. So that's one I can think of right off the top of our head. But there's probably more that we're forgetting.
So let's talk about the premiere, because I really love this episode. I was getting goosebumps, and like the way Chip was also reading all those things, like how he was feeling all that energy in the place. The thing is that you guys brought in somebody too who was from the Masonic Temple, from the, all that stuff. And so I'm wondering, was it kind of was it challenging, I guess, because he couldn't really share too much, and there was like a lot of secretiveness around the entire temple and the history of the place and the rituals and all the things they did?
I mean, I would say it wasn't, so Sean's a really dear friend of ours. So it was nice to have him. It wasn't like it was someone we didn't know. And so he could really kind of fill us in a little bit on ideas and like what the ideas behind their rituals were and things. So, but it was hard in the sense that we sent him in there and we couldn't hear anything he was saying. We had to agree to shut off all the audio. So we didn't hear any of what he was reciting, but there was something about that did raise the energy there, And so yeah, we were shut out a little bit, but I think we got enough of a taste to have a handle on the situation.
Mm-hmm. And, Chip, when they brought you in to look at all the things, what was the energy you were feeling from that place?
I would have to say the one word was creepy. There's not another word. It was a creepy location, just different than some of the other places that we had been. It just felt like there was something hidden and something unexplored and something unfound.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best words I can use.
Mm-hmm. The way that, people are going to watch it and they may perceive it is that some of it was a little bit aggressive. Would you say that there was something insidious there or something sinister or just people just not at rest because of the disrespect?
I mean, I would say I think without spoiling it, I think what we find was the reason why we needed to be there, if mm-hmm. that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, yes, the activity at times was aggressive, but this shop owner had moved her shop from one side of the building to the other. And her real worry was that somebody else is going to move in here and I don't want them to mess up the energy, because she's like, we get along. However, these crazy things have happened in the past and I don't want it to get worse. And we did a lot of investigating to try to figure out who that aggressive person was. Chip picked up on it. We had activity around it, but nothing like hit us over the head to say, oh yeah, this is the aggressive activity. But the entire case, when you watch the episode, flips on its head in the middle of it, and our entire mission changes, and the outcome is. I still am confused how we got to that outcome. I mean, I know how it happened, but like you can't even write that kind of stuff. It's insane.
Yeah, it was a very separate spin. I felt like something just totally happened. I had no idea that was coming. It was very fun to watch from the outside, but I'm sure for you guys, it was like world blown, like everything.
Yeah. We had no idea it was coming either. And that's actually how it operates for us a lot of the time. We have it's like a curveball.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting at home and they called me on the phone and told me what happened. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
it was just, you got to watch it to believe it. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point.
No, this is like one of my favorite episodes. I feel like the last episode that I loved so much, like I've loved all the shows, but the one that I loved was the Indiana Asylum when you guys went, and then Chip came in and he kind of knew that woman's stall, like she had passed away. She, taken her own life and stuff. But that episode was one of my favorites. But then this one now I'm like, whoa, because like a lot happened. I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, but there was a big development at the end. And I'm wondering, did you guys get to talk to Lori after that? Like, the shop owner, did you get to talk to her about anything that happened after? Like, do we know if any activity has stopped or has it accelerated?
From what I've heard, it's been fine. Like, we were in touch quite a bit for the weeks after that. And it seemed like it was okay. I think we can't give away too much, but I think we were there not necessarily to make anything stop, but to figure out who it was. And so I think we were able to do that.
Yeah. And honestly, no news is good news.
Right.
If they're not beating down our door being like, help me.
What did you do?
What did you do? Like, that's good news. I mean, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah. And I know that we are now on Discovery Plus, which means also now it's opened up to Canada. Canada finally has Discovery Plus, and a lot of people get to watch your show now over there. So I'm wondering, for the new viewers, what would you like viewers to know about the show?
I mean, I think that our message is one of, humanizing spirits. We look at ghosts as though they are living people standing right in front of us. And so that is always our motivation. And so just for them to remember that, like, we're there to help the living just as much as we're there to help the dead. And so, yeah, it's sometimes a very spooky journey along the way, but our mission is always to help and assist in some way.
And when we started out, our goal was to show as much of a complete, full-fledged investigation from start to finish. So a lot of the viewers, not only do they love the spooky ghost aspect, but they're obsessed with the history that we uncover, the research that's being done, the interviews, the people that we're talking to, where we try to gather our information. A lot of them are like, it's like true crime meets paranormal meets like mystery. Yeah, it's a whole, it's not your average ghost hunting show, I will say.
I will say that I think that this show has a lot of heart.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, is that the people that are there, yes, Adam, 100%.
100%.
We all have a vested interest in helping the living and the dead. And that's what I love about being a part of this show. I love that.
Yeah. When I watch the show with my sister, that's the exact same thing that we feel too. Like, you guys are so dedicated and committed to like helping people, and that is so important, especially like bringing closure and then bringing peace to those that really need it. But before I let you go, because I know we're running out of time, but is there an episode this season that each one of you loves a lot and you want fans to tune into?
Oh, I know which one. The shoes. I don't remember what it's called, but there's an episode surrounding a pair of shoes. Okay. And it's not because I love shoes. These are old spooky shoes. And the outcome of that episode will make you rethink everything about the paranormal. And plus the family was very, very moving. So I think that's going to be, I was saying this in another interview, I think that's going to be in people's top 3 episodes ever of Kindred, for sure.
Yeah, that episode is called, I got it right, it's called Watch Over Me. It premieres December 25th, Christmas Day.
Oh, that's
really fun. It really is the perfect episode for Christmas Day. I mean, it's a family case. For me, the first episode, I mean, they're so good. How do you even choose? I mean, look, how do you even choose which one? I'm like going through. I like The Lurker. That's episode 3. I like Toxic Relations. That's episode 5. I like Disorderly Conduct. Who doesn't like Disorderly Conduct? That's episode 8, February 5th. There's so many good episodes.
Yeah. Chip, what about you?
Do not make me choose. I'm like Sophie. I can't choose. I'm like, I can't, watch the whole season.
Yeah.
Watch everything. And then I think rather than my choosing, we want you guys to choose. Choose which ones are your favorites, and then watch them again and tell all your friends and your family.
Yeah. And everyone's got plenty of time this holiday season because it's on Discovery Plus season 1 through 5. And then I think 6 is premiering as well on the same day, December 18th. Amy, Adam, Chip, thank you so much for your time today. You guys are the best. I love you. Kindred Spirits will premiere December 18th on Travel Channel and stream on Discovery Plus. For more with the investigators, keep it locked to popculture.com for the latest.